Alexa Leewood. And I may have forgot someone there. If I apologize, but anyway, it's a big part of what our constituency wants to see. And we did regulate out Class 2 because we felt like, and our board voted based on public comment and public input, that Class 2 was really marginally any exercise associated with it. It's an accelerator-driven type bicycle. Whereas Class 1 and Class 3 are pedal assist. The motor does not engage unless you're pedaling. So that was the methodology there. And then finally, our last point was we are constantly asked or requested to, our board and our agency is asked to allow other types of motorized conveyances. And I included 3 pictures in my testimony, which I hope can be submitted for the record. One is based on your personal preference. It looks like a motorized unicycle. Another term in the trade is a self-balancing personal electric powered device. The second category, or shown in the image, is a new product on the market called the Sondor, and it's meant to look like a motorcycle, but it is absolutely an electric 2-wheeled device. And then, of course, you all did mention the third photograph, and you talked about the scooters, which are very prevalent in our urban areas, and we have restricted their use on our trails. So anyway, with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions, and I really very much thank you for the opportunity to be here and to provide a testimony representing Johnson County Park and Rec. I also wanted to say that I do represent the Kansas Recreation and Park Association, which is an organization in the state of Kansas that works together on many park and rec issues, and it's a large organization, and it's a critical thing to realize that maybe one size doesn't fit all. And I realize there's some language in the bill that allows for local units of government to exempt out of various categories, and much of that work has been done by this county already. So I just wanted to share those thoughts. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Question, Senator Pyle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your testimony. Do you currently allow golf carts in the parks?
We do not allow golf carts on multi-use paved trails.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the pictures. I'm just curious. I know you're not the one promoting this bill. Mr. Chairman, maybe you could tell me that picture of the little electric motorbike. That doesn't qualify as what we're talking about in a Class 2 bicycle, right?
I don't know whether that would or not, as long as it was under 28 mile an hour. I know the other 2 would definitely be listed underneath electric scooter in the definition in the bill. But I couldn't tell you on that top one.
Thank you.
Or that center one, rather. Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Now turn our attention. Any further opponents? Seeing none. We do have written only from Deborah Barnes, League of Municipalities. We're showing we have neutral testimony from the City of Overland. Deborah's here. All right. Deborah, not written only. Welcome to the committee.
Just turned it off. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Deborah Barnes, Staff Attorney at the League of Kansas Municipalities. Thanks for the opportunity of providing opponent testimony to Senate Bill 101. I'd just like to put that into context, the opponent testimony. There's a lot that we like about this. We like that our cities will be able to allow people who might not otherwise be able to use bicycles to be able to do so. And we like the fact that people would be able to know that they can take their bicycles to other states that have got the same sort of framework. The reason that we are opposed to the bill as presently drafted is because of the restrictions that it puts on regulation by cities and other forms of local government. And although Mr. Robbins said in his testimony that local government can regulate these electric-assisted bicycles which are, if I may, I will call them e-bikes just to make things a bit shorter, as they see fit. That's not quite the case. As we've heard, there's no bar, as this is presently drafted, to regulating them on natural trails. But as far as other kinds of paths are concerned, there is a very particular way that it's supposed to be done under this legislation. It has to be done following notice and a public hearing. This is for bicycle paths and multi-use paths. And as we see it, that puts an unacceptable restriction on local authorities. At the moment, they regulate bicycles in the usual way. It goes through by an ordinance or regulation. It's done at an open meeting. People can come and find out what's happening. They can feed in their views, and then the governing body can take a decision based on the needs of their particular community. And we think that this quasi-judicial process puts an unnecessary layer on government regulation. We would like to suggest some language that could be added that would allow us certainly to support this legislation, and it's been done in many other states. I didn't take a look at the legislation for all the other states, but the ones I did, nearly all of them had, I think, in fact, all of them had some kind of language such as I'm going to suggest. And, Mr. Chairman, would it be okay if I read out the suggested amendment?
Yes.
Okay. So we would ask that the committee strike the language in section 9, bracket G 2 to 4, and that they replace it with this language. However, this section may not be construed to prevent a city, through the exercise of its home rule powers, from adopting an ordinance governing the operation of electric-assisted bicycles on streets, highways, sidewalks and sidewalk areas under the city's jurisdiction, or to prevent a municipality, county or agency of the state having jurisdiction over a bicycle path, multi-use path, trail or trail network from restricting or prohibiting the operation of an electric-assisted bicycle on a bicycle path, multi-use path, trail or trail network. So that's the language that we would suggest introducing to allow cities to regulate these. And if you think of other kinds of, I know that this is not a motor vehicle, but if you think about all-terrain vehicles, for instance, they can't even be in a city unless a city, through an ordinance, approves it being there. Just to give you an example. Otherwise, we leave it to others to decide whether the ability to travel up to 28 miles an hour is a problem. We've just heard from Johnson County that it probably isn't, and we do wonder how these electric-assisted bicycles might be treated under DUI laws. We know that they're not motor vehicles, but we did find some blogs when we were researching suggesting that these bicycles are a good way to avoid worrying about DUI laws, and we wouldn't want that to happen. I'm not quite sure how that read across would be. Our main difficulty is the restriction on the ability of cities to be able to regulate the e-bikes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I stand for questions at the appropriate time.
One question. It looks like you're basically trying to accomplish the same thing with your amendment, except removing the notice of the public hearing.
No, there would be no notice in public hearing. It would just be treated like anything else during the council meeting.
And bill now it requires a notice of a public hearing.
It does.
Okay, thank you. Committee, further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Deborah. Are there any further opponents? Committee notice we have neutral testimony from the city of Overland Park and the city of Shawnee. We'll close the hearing on Senate Bill 101. Committee would like to take this time to turn our attention to Senate Bill 95. Adam, can you give us a quick briefing?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 95 would remove the exemption for vehicles not having to complete the odometer certification on vehicles 10 years of age or older with a vehicle weight of more than 16,000 pounds. The bill now makes all vehicles exempt from the odometer certification if such vehicles are otherwise exempt from the requirement pursuant to federal law.
Adam, this is the one that brings it out to 20 years instead of 10, so it matches federal law.
That, while it doesn't explicitly state that in the bill, that's my understanding of, I believe the division testified to, yes.
Thank you. Committee, what's your pleasure on this bill? Senator Clays.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that the committee recommend Senate Bill 95 favorably for passage and the item being of a non-controversial nature be placed on the consent calendar.
We have a second, seconded by Senator Bowers. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Bill's on its way. Our attention, committee, to Senate Bill 99. Adam, can you give us a briefing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 99 was the bill that increased the current bonding requirement for used and new motor vehicle dealers from the current $30,000 amount, and then it'll be raised to $50,000. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Committee questions? Committee, what's your pleasure on this bill? Senator Pyle. Motion's been made to have Senate Bill 99 passed out favorably to the consent calendar because it's of non-controversial nature. Do we have a second? Seconded by Senator Dietrich. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Bill's moving out forward. Committee, it is my intention to work Senate Bill 116 as soon as we have an opportunity. We're out of time today. If you have any amendments or anything, start looking at them. With that, we are adjourned.